Did you know that sugar craving might be due to a lack of salt? One of the biggest lies that we've been told, right up there with counting calories and eating low fat, is to cut salt. Salt is the switch for our most important vital bodily functions. It helps our cells to generate energy, it supports our adrenal functions, it allows our nervous system to send signals, and it initiates digestion. When there isn't enough salt, our body starts to make trade offs. Less energy, less blood volume. We feel tired and wired at the same time. Bloating, fatigue, and brain fog, what we call symptoms, might simply due to a lack of minerals. So, in today's video, we're going to talk about the best salt for women over 40. Why was salt demonized? It was not always this way. In fact, every traditional culture prized it. German soldiers were paid in salt. Himalayan trade routes were built around it, and across the world, women instinctively used it in broths, stools, and fermentations for strengthening, restoring, and healing. Salt was sacred, but somewhere along the way, we seem to lost that knowing. In the 1970s, a few study has linked high blood pressure with sodium. The most notable one is Intersalt study in 1988. It tracked over 10,000 people across 32 countries, and it found that population with high sodium intake sometimes have high blood pressure. But the correlation wasn't always consistent. And in fact, the study has also ignored the processed food intake, potassium and magnesium levels, as well as stress levels. And even earlier than that, in the 1960s, a doctor named Louis Dahl, he ran a study on rats and he fed rats high level of sodium. In fact, it was an incredible amount of 500 grams of sodium per day, if that is on human equivalent. And these rats develop hypertension. This study was so popular, it was widely cited, and it even influenced the US sodium guidelines. Policy changed, food companies reformulated.
Lost 8 pounds.
Lose 8 more.
8.
Everybody's got a diet right. It doesn't matter who you are. It's gonna be a tough fight.
Diet right, salt free. I'm avoiding salt, sodium.
See, I'm impressed.
She's impressed.
Everybody's got a diet.
Diet Right, the only leading diet cola with no salt and 100% NutraSweet.
So instead of sugar, salt became the scapegoat. And within a decade, one of the most essential minerals for life became a threat. But salt isn't just sodium. It activates aldosterone, helps the adrenals manage fluid balance, regulate blood sugar, and protects against cortisol overload. It balances extracellular volume, the fluid between our cells that determine everything from mood to metabolism. And for women over 40, especially during perimenopause and menopause, cutting salt can worsen symptoms like headache, sugar cravings, bloating, and brain fog. So I started researching salt, and the answer was quite astonishing. A lot of the salts that were beloved by the wellness community, including myself, were actually loaded with heavy metals. We're talking about lead, arsenic, cadmium, endocrine disruptors that are detrimental to our health, and the levels was well above the California Prop 65 warning levels. And most surprisingly, the cleanest salt tested was diamond crystal kosher salt. But when I looked deeper into the processing, I realized there are things that were added and were not on the label. Bleaching agents like sulfuric acid or chlorine, anti-caking compounds like sodium aluminosilicate or ferrocyanide, moisture stabilizers that interfere with digestion and gut balance. And that's a problem we have today, not only with salt, but with many other things in our whole food ecosystem. With this in mind, I'm continuously looking for a salt that is clean, also mineral rich, and naturally harvested without adding pollutants or chemical processing. And this is the time when I found sulfur harvested in Iceland using geothermal evaporation. From its own published results and third party lab testing, it shows no additives, no pollutants, no microplastics, and no heavy metals, but also loaded with trace minerals that our body can use. And here are some runner ups that you can consider as well. Oryx desert salt from South Africa, which is mineral dense and clean. Portuguese sea salt like Rubia or Salina naturally hand harvested Korean bamboo salt, and some gray Celtic salts. However, remember the test results can vary between batch to batch, and that's why I keep a couple of these good brands on hand and rotate among them. And some people might opt for potassium chloride as an alternative. Although in specific conditions it's a good substitute, it does not have the full spectrum of the minerals and it might irritate the gut when taking in high consumption. Other than rotating salt, I also like to use salt in phases, which means more on active days and a little bit less on resting days. I also use salt at the end of my cooking because high heat can degrade some of the trace minerals that are beneficial to our body. And I also use salt for my water, especially the first cup in the morning, rich in potassium and magnesium. It helps our body to wake up and regulate. And there you go. Those are my salt recommendations. And although I would love to have just one salt to meet all of our body mineral needs, this is actually quite not possible. And that's why we also want to integrate lifestyle habits in our daily routine that supports our body. Menopause is your second spring, and I love you.